Good. And now we have our final panelists for the evening. Jerome Tilak Singh. Dr. Jerome Tilak Singh is a lecturer in the Department of History at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, that is called at St. Augustine, so we don't get it mixed. He has also served as a part-time lecturer at the University of Trinidad and Tobago and Cipriani College of Labor and Cooperative Studies. Jerome has published books, reviews, journal articles, and chapters on Caribbean topics, and has also presented at international academic conferences. And if I may add, he was the organizer behind the Black Power Anniversary Conference that was held at UW St. Augustine a few years ago in 2010. Let's welcome Jerome to the podium.
Thank you very much, Roseanne. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to look at some of the grave injustices, the stolen legacies, and I also want to make some suggestions and recommendations. Since the arrival of the Spanish in 1492, we in the New World have witnessed one of the worst and the first world's Holocaust. We have witnessed a genocide. Millions of indigenous and first peoples have been killed, murdered, raped. Their cultures have been deemed inferior. Their religions have been seen as pagan and heathen by these so-called missionaries. The Spanish, the Dutch, the French, and the British have deceived them, have taken away their lands, have exploited them, have used their children and these adults as slave labor. Many were killed for amusement. Babies and children dropped from the cliffs. They were poisoned, these first peoples. They died from overwork, from starvation. The men watched as their women folk and sisters were raped. Many perished because of cruel labor systems like the encomienda and repartimiento. The Europeans have contributed to ecological and environmental destruction that we are still experiencing today. Entire species have been wiped out. Lands have been made infertile. As many of you all know, in North America, on the reservations, these Indians are forced to live like subhuman species. In Canada, there's a residential school system, and during the 18th and 19th centuries, Indians were forced to give up their religion, identity, and culture. They were dehumanized in these schools, insulted. The Aborigines in Australia, in Africa, have all endured the same conditions. Today, there's a need for us to make sure that the present and future generations remember the evil that was done. We must also educate the future and present generations of the rich legacies and the achievements of these first peoples. There's a need for the media to play a greater role. Newspapers, the television. I wish the film companies would produce more movies and documentaries about these first peoples. Too often, there is so much cultural garbage on our television. Why not a cartoon talking about the achievements and the culture of the first peoples? It's a pity that many of our primary and secondary students, many of our tertiary students, are not even aware of the Arena Massacre in 1699 in Trinidad and Tobago. I would like to see a museum for the first peoples in every country in the Western Hemisphere. And I also want to add, it is very unfortunate that in our parliament, the First Peoples do not have a voice. It is very unfortunate that in the politics in the Caribbean, in Central America and South America, often the First Peoples do not have a voice. It's ironic that we found ancestral remains under the foundation of the parliament. And we need to ask ourselves, why are the burial sites of the First Peoples, why are these sacred burial grounds not properly demarcated? We have the technology, we have the GPS systems, we have digital mapping. We need to go and find these sacred burial grounds and have them separate. It's very unfortunate when suddenly we would find the Banwari site by accident, when we would be digging up bones, be it in Moruga, by accident. We need to encourage the government, we need to encourage outsiders to fund proper archaeological expeditions to find our peoples. It's a grave injustice to keep this rich legacy asleep and hidden from the present generation. I thank you.